Jake like here, gaming lawyer at your service. So far, I've been giving you legal knowledge to protect yourself in specific circumstances. Today, I will be teaching a skill which all law students are taught, and likely the most important thing they need to have throughout their studies as well as when they start practicing: critical thinking. I'm certain most other fields that are technical or scientifically based would have students learn it as part of their syllabus due to the nature of their subject. So if some of you already are critical thinkers, maybe just treat it as a refresher. But for those that don't know what skill this is, I'm going to tell you how you can apply this skill in almost any part of your life. And as always, before I start, I would like to emphasize that the information provided in this video is only for education and entertainment purposes. Please seek qualified professionals if you start to question what's right and what's wrong in your life. Without delaying further, let's get on with the basics. So what is critical thinking? To put it as simply as possible, and towards my own understanding, it is a type of mental approach to something by a person that wants to understand about as well as finding solutions or drawing conclusions. And the approach must be critical, which means the person needs to be at a state of neutral, rational, logical, and skeptical. So the thinking in this context would be making all sorts of critical thought process for that, like observing, questioning, calculating, researching, and analyzing. In short, with critical thinking, we are supposed to make well thought out conclusions or solutions to any matter in life that is only supported by scientific facts and unbiased perspectives. But maybe you will understand better if I show you how it is applied in the context of legal matters. We all know that law is not an easy subject to decipher. So many different sources, different interpretations, and different opinions exist. But with critical thinking, we should be able to pinpoint what laws and facts are favorable to us and find the most efficient way to reach that goal. For instance, when lawyers are approached by clients with problems, most of the time they give us vague ideas of what the problem is and what they want to be solved. Normally, we just have to examine and consider the following: who our client is and how are they connected to the problematic event. What is our client suggesting us to do? What laws are applicable and other remedies that our client has yet to think of? Possibility of winning the case and how much could it cost for the client. But with critical thinking, we are able to contemplate nuances in a case. For instance, who are the people that the client is being sued or suing against? Are there more peaceful and quicker solutions outside of legal procedures? How much do we actually know about the client's background? Is taking the case actually good for me or the law firm's reputation? The mentioned basic thought processes isn't exhaustive, but if any competent lawyer is unable to do that, they run the risk of costing their clients a lot of money, time, or even their life. And from my personal standpoint, critical thinking is just a way for us to thoroughly and safely provide education and help for someone. Which brings us to why it's applicable not just for lawyers, but in a lot of aspects of everyone's lives as well. It's especially important in the context of educating science and medicine during this pandemic. Being able to critically consider the medical treatments and preventive measures to reduce deaths from contracting a deadly virus. For example, instead of waiting for people you trust to give you the answers, you can take the initiative and see how scientists and doctors from multiple reputable institutes explain how vaccines work, and look through peer-reviewed public studies of their effectiveness against the virus. Another aspect which such thinking may be useful is in the macro scale of social beliefs in our world. Politics, religions, and cultures are mostly taught from a very biased perspective and will, to some extent, harm those that are unable or do not want to accept those teachings. Just to preface this, before anyone gets jumpy, this isn't about saying what beliefs are wrong or correct, but to allow yourself a different approach to understand those beliefs, whether it is one that you have or have not supported. On the contrary, being critical may actually help you increase your confidence in what you believe, since you would be actively aware of the truths of your faith and the effects they have to yourself and other people. Moving along to something much more personal, your relationships with people around you. And yes, critical thinking can be applied here as well. Mostly the purpose here is to maintain a harmonious bond with your family and friends by allowing yourself to consider whether understanding and acceptance is possible. Often we argue with family and friends because we could only look from our own point of view. Critical thinking here would be more of practicing introspection and empathy. Always try to be aware of one's own strengths and faults in a relationship, but at the same time, open yourself to understand the people close to you. Their beliefs, feelings, and needs are equally as important as yours. Now, here's the interesting part. I've spoken so many good things about critical thinking. What about the cons? Well, there are some. You can always argue that everyone thinks differently and that no mindset is truly superior than the other. That being said, a critical thinker may precisely become too overly confident of themselves by believing that they are able to win arguments and debates just because of the efforts made in finding the truths, which, ironically, means that they no longer are critically thinking about the truth of their own flaws and strengths. There's also the problem of giving something too much thought. A simple task or issue may be overcomplicated by a critical thinker and unnecessarily waste time when there is an easy and direct approach to it. Like any mindset, it is always good to remind yourself that it doesn't have to be absolute. You do not need to be always serious and critical of everything in life. Sometimes you have to be positive and just enjoy the moment. Also, you should not expect everyone to have the highest standard of observation and problem-solving skills as you. Since critical thinking is a very self-driven belief, likewise, everyone will have varying levels in pursuing truth and objectivity. But all things considered, I can say with confidence that choosing not to critically think is considerably worse for society. I would like you to imagine if you leave the thinking to other people and just do what you are told to do, then you are at the whims of other people's beliefs, actions, and decisions. You would, unfortunately, simply not feel responsible if those things would manage to cause harm to you and to other people around, because you would believe it's not your fault in the first place. How would you know, since you never really given thought for it, right? Living a life of ignorance in your own bubble of truths is fine, can be blissful, only in a very specific circumstance. If you live an absolutely secluded life, living in a society where you are bound to interact with someone, either in real life or online, those interactions will have an effect to that someone, one way or another. Not allowing yourself for critical thoughts on those interactions could mean dire consequences. And I would like to add, in all aspects of life, giving misinformation on vaccines could cost someone's life. Cyberbullying a suicidal person could cost their life. Discriminating a group of people could cost their life. Forcing a belief on people that won't follow could cost their life. Now, since you have watched this video, I don't think it's wrong to say that you have to critically consider your actions now, don't you? Thanks for watching. If you have your own opinions of what critical thinking is, I would like to see what you have to say down in the comments below. Or if you don't think critical thinking is important, I would appreciate seeing your answers the same. If you would like to help or support me in continuing making this content, you can make donations or become monthly members in Ko-fi to get exclusive membership perks, which the details can be found at our Discord community server, Light & Co. Gaming Aid Center. Link is in the description below. Until next time, be hopeful, but stay critical.